Os Estados Unidos nunca enfrentaram inimigos tão mortais, determinados e furtivos quanto os Vietcongues. Liderados pelo norte-vietnamita Ho Chi Minh, os Vietcongues pareciam indestrutíveis.
We will not surrender.
Sua organização clandestina causava indignação.
Surrounded by a million enemies.
Os programas americanos tiveram pouco efeito.
Guerrilla tactics in a war of attrition against us will ultimately prevail.
Esta é a história secreta de armadilhas, táticas de guerrilha e uma cidade subterrânea interligada por túneis. Estes são os Vietcongues revelados. Revelações: os Vietcongues. Vietnã, 1967. A guerra estava chegando ao ápice. As forças americanas e sul-vietnamitas despejavam seu poder de fogo na floresta, perseguindo um inimigo que os dizimava com emboscadas, armadilhas e atiradores de elite.
You very seldom got in a firefight unless you caught a group of them somewhere. They would defend their position until everyone was gone. They leave a guy there and we go over and we kill him perhaps. But the rest of them would all take off.
Os Vietcongues conheciam bem a floresta e usavam a densa vegetação como camuflagem. Atrás deles, nas linhas de abastecimento, os soldados comunistas do exército norte-vietnamita planejavam secretamente seus ataques de guerrilha.
So the Viet Cong were the guerrilla movement in South Vietnam, which meant that for a while the North Vietnamese could get us into a situation where if we fought the Viet Cong, the main force units would fight with less opposition.
Os próprios Vietcongues eram uma armadilha, usada para ocupar e incomodar a grande força norte-americana, mantê-la longe do exército norte-vietnamita e envolver civis no conflito.
Walked around all day and sweeping villages and all that sort of thing, looking for them and never finding them. You realize that the people had to go both ways. They had to be friendly with the Viet Cong, they had to be friendly with us because they were in a neutral zone. And that kind of bugs you, but then in youth it made you really angry. But as you, in retrospect, you say, well, what are they going to do?
O uso da população civil, as técnicas de guerra na floresta e o fanatismo dos Vietcongues eram produtos de uma campanha política e militar conduzida por Ho Chi Minh. Esse norte-vietnamita foi provavelmente o líder revolucionário mais bem-sucedido dos tempos modernos. Revelações: os Estados Unidos anularam diplomaticamente a eleição vietnamita, pois 80% da população votaria para o comunista Ho Chi Minh. Setembro de 1945. Os americanos e seus aliados haviam derrotado as forças do eixo na Europa e na Ásia. O Vietnã foi libertado do domínio japonês em parte graças ao Viet Minh, o movimento de independência do Vietnã liderado por Ho Chi Minh. Antes da guerra, o Vietnã havia sido uma colônia francesa.
After the end of World War II, of course, the French were determined to return to Indochina. This had been a difficult period for the French. They had been humiliated during World War II.
Os franceses conspiravam para recuperar as plantações de seringueiras no Vietnã, mas a força que seria conhecida como Vietcongues já estava se formando.
I think it was very important to Gaulle and many of the members of his government to re-establish French pride and grandeur.
Para a França, a questão do Vietnã era simples. Bastaria retomar seu antigo território. Mas os franceses não imaginavam que o inimigo se tornara muito mais sofisticado. Os comunistas vietnamitas estavam prontos para travar a guerra em 3 níveis.
Well, they combined a political, military, and diplomatic strategy. They did see all 3 of these as a unified whole. The revolutionary theory had 3 stages: organization, agitation, and then insurrection.
Os vietnamitas comunistas intitulavam-se Viet Minh, ou Defensores da Liberdade do Vietnã. Eram chamados pelos oponentes de Vietcongues ou Vietnamitas Vermelhos. Para os Vietcongues, os civis vietnamitas eram o segredo para a vitória.
The political work of People's War was vitally important. You had to be in the villages and you had to educate people to the goals, which were, in this sense, anti-colonial and national liberation. The French simply could not match the communists.
1946. Por 9 longos anos, a França lutou para recuperar o controle do Vietnã e destruir Ho Chi Minh e seu exército. Em 1954, os comunistas viraram o jogo em um local chamado Dien Bien Phu.
The most famous battle that Ho Chi Minh and his followers fought in the war against the French or the Americans was the famous Battle of Dien Bien Phu in the spring of 1954.
A tripla estratégia dos comunistas foi empregada. Ho Chi Minh e seu principal comandante militar, o general Vo Nguyen Giap, utilizaram táticas militares e políticas para expulsar os franceses.
Ho Chi Minh recognized the French public was growing increasingly weary of the fighting in Indochina. They had lost thousands and thousands, and many French were very anxious to bring an end to the war.
Dien Bien Phu era uma base francesa em território inimigo, criada por soldados paraquedistas e suprida por aviões. Embora os franceses possuíssem uma força poderosa na área, os norte-vietnamitas poderiam lançar dezenas de milhares de soldados contra as posições francesas.
This was essentially the first time that the Viet Minh forces had attempted to overrun a major French base.
Secretamente, o general Giap ordenou o transporte de peças de artilharia por densas florestas de terreno montanhoso. Ho Chi Minh, sigilosamente, acumulou mais armamento soviético. Em 13 de março de 1954, a artilharia secreta vietnamita abriu fogo contra a base francesa.
The commanding officers of the military camp had the belief that victory was extremely important in fierce battles, and they were indeed honorable victories.
Revelações. Os Estados Unidos supostamente ofereceram à França bombas atômicas para salvar Dien Bien Phu. Os franceses temiam que elas destruíssem seus próprios soldados. Genebra, Suíça, 1954. Depois da derrota na Batalha de Dien Bien Phu, os franceses precisaram negociar com Ho Chi Minh. Os Vietcongues se tornaram um poder na região.
After the Geneva Conference, the country was divided into a communist north and a non-communist south. And Ho Chi Minh at that point was still serving as the president of the Democratic Republic of Vietnam.
Os norte-vietnamitas saíram vitoriosos e os franceses se retiraram. Mas os franceses não eram nada perto do que Ho Chi Minh enfrentaria quando os fuzileiros americanos desembarcassem no país em 1965. Nessa época, os Vietcongues já haviam desenvolvido uma nova gama de armas e táticas mortais. Em 1957, vietnamitas comunistas liderados por Ho Chi Minh haviam derrotado os franceses na Batalha de Dien Bien Phu. Na Conferência de Genebra, o país fora dividido em norte comunista e sul democrático. Os Estados Unidos temiam que os norte-vietnamitas disseminassem o comunismo pelo resto do Sudeste Asiático.
The Vietnamese were getting guns from the Chinese communists, who were getting them from the Russians. So the Viet Minh had a basically inexhaustible supply of weapons and an inexhaustible supply of nationalists who basically wanted the colonial power out.
1964. As forças de Ho Chi Minh combatiam as tropas sul-vietnamitas conhecidas como ARVN, ou Exército da República do Vietnã. O envolvimento americano era limitado a suprimentos e a 15 mil conselheiros militares. Na verdade, os sul-vietnamitas e os conselheiros americanos enfrentavam dois inimigos: o NVA, ou Exército do Vietnã do Norte, e uma força de guerrilha que seria conhecida como Vietcongues.
In the minds of the public, the North Vietnamese Army and the so-called Viet Cong were simply conflated. They were one and the same thing. There was no distinction. And The image of the North Vietnamese soldier was of somebody in black short pajamas with no shoes and one of those hats, hiding behind a tree with a machine gun. The American public did not understand that there was both a conventional war being fought by the North Vietnamese Army and a guerrilla war.
Vietcong foi termo ofensivo criado pelo líder sul-vietnamita. Significa vietnamita vermelho. Os VC, como ficaram conhecidos, possuíam uma tradição de guerra camuflada, prática usada pelo Vietnã contra a França.
The success of the cooperation of troops and civilians in the province made up the whole military for the South Vietnam region. Even the Central region surely recognized this force.
Revelações. A inteligência VC era tão boa que os pelotões norte-vietnamitas conheciam os invasores pelo nome. 27 de julho de 1964, o presidente Lyndon Johnson autorizou um aumento de tropas para combater o que considerava uma ameaça de dominação comunista no sudeste da Ásia. O elemento-chave da estratégia Vietcong eram os túneis secretos, e talvez os mais famosos da história militar sejam os complexos construídos em Cu Chi.
Cu Chi was a major command center, and subsequently it was a major base camp for large Viet Cong and then combined Viet Cong North Vietnamese units. There had been a long interval of time for this base area to develop and to acquire the sophistication that it did.
1965. As tropas americanas desembarcaram em peso no conflito do Vietnã e enfrentaram uma guerra subterrânea.
The tunnels were very well done. They were carefully camouflaged, and indeed, the Americans were spooked more than once when the patrol was coming out there and they find themselves in the middle of a tunnel complex.
When the 25th Division actually first moved to Vietnam and were setting up and looking for a main place for the base camp, they chose Cu Chi because of its vastness of flatness and stability. Every once in a while, somebody would come up, take some pot shots, and disappear. And they couldn't figure it out. You know, and then one time somebody saw somebody that shouldn't be somewhere disappear into the ground. So they went over and checked out, and sure enough, here's a tunnel, right in the midst of a major base camp.
Os túneis eram vitais para o comando e controle dos Vietcongues. A partir deles, os oficiais coordenavam os ataques aos campos vizinhos.
So what you had at Cu Chi were literally miles of tunnels in a network of many levels that included everything from meeting halls to barracks to medical centers, cooking facilities, mess halls, combat training, all taking place underground.
It allowed them to repair their soldiers that were wounded. They could bring them down there in safety and get the hospitalization or the medical attention they could get, that whatever they would have available down below. It would allow them a hot meal that wouldn't be detected above ground, you know, from building a fire or anything like that.
Cu Chi era apenas uma parte do secreto mundo subterrâneo Vietcong.
The biggest complex that I saw that was connected to another one was by the Michelin rubber plantation, where they built this tunnel complex in it because they had all the natural triple canopy of the overgrown rubber trees, that so overgrown with vegetation that from the top it was like somebody put a tent over this whole 25 square mile area.
Os americanos que vasculhavam os túneis eram chamados ratos de túnel.
The tunnel rats were basically the first guys in. They do them with a 45 caliber pistol and a flashlight. And it was very dangerous work because if there were Vietnamese down there, they were cornered like rats.
First time I actually entered a real tunnel complex within a complex was over in the Bo Loi Woods, northwest of Cu Chi. As you're going in, you're searching every inch you could possibly search to make sure there isn't floor-based booby traps, side-based booby traps, or ceiling booby traps. There's no escape when you're that close.
Para impedir sua utilização em novos ataques, os túneis tinham de ser destruídos.
In this particular tunnel complex, when I went to the left, it went to the left again, and then there was another opening hole going down to another level. You have to start completely from scratch. You got to search that opening completely all the way around, because that's even more dangerous, because you're in there. They dug another level for a purpose.
Os túneis secretos dos Vietcongues precisavam ser profundos para proteger milhares de guerrilheiros e soldados norte-vietnamitas dos bombardeiros e patrulhas norte-americanas.
They would move cadre into the tunnels, hide them there, keep them safe from U.S. airstrikes. And then at night, they would infiltrate them into Saigon. And I interrogated a communist who had been attached to the Saigon City Party Committee, was one of their chief spies. And I discovered that he would periodically go back to Cu Chi to radio out his orders, or to radio out his intelligence findings, and to pick up orders to go back into Saigon. So it was basically a launching pad for operations in the capital itself, and we never shut them down.
Os túneis de Cu Chi e do resto do país eram bases que precisavam ser abastecidas de homens e material. Na floresta, os Vietcongues abriram um caminho secreto para atacar o coração do poderio americano. Um exército oculto avançava em direção aos americanos e sul-vietnamitas com planos devastadores. Vietnã, 1965. Os Vietcongues aperfeiçoaram o uso dos túneis subterrâneos de tal forma que seu efeito foi mortal contra os americanos e sul-vietnamitas. Mas isso era apenas uma parte do plano de batalha norte-vietnamita. Os homens que trabalhavam nos complexos de túneis em locais como Cu Chi precisavam ser abastecidos.
The Ho Chi Minh Trail began as a covert operation. It was a secret operation mounted by Hanoi starting in about 1959. It was so secret that the men who worked on the trail went out of their way in Hanoi and the surrounding market towns to find exactly the same kind of clothing that was worn in South Vietnam and in the places that they expected to go to.
Foram os americanos que chamaram a linha secreta de abastecimento Vietcong de Trilha Ho Chi Minh, em alusão ao líder comunista revolucionário. Ho era grande admirador dos fundadores da América do Norte e chegou a citar a Declaração da Independência.
His decision to cite passages from the Declaration of Independence in his own Declaration of Independence for a new Vietnam was a calculated move to win support in Washington and, of course, from Americans.
Mas o tio Ho, como era conhecido pelos Vietcongues, estava preso a uma batalha mortal com o moderno exército americano.
When Ho Chi Minh and his colleagues realized in the early 60s that they might have to confront the United States directly on the battlefield, they knew right from the outset that they were going to have a bigger challenge on their hands.
1959. Quando o Vietnã foi dividido em Norte e Sul por um tratado internacional, o Norte precisou encontrar um meio secreto de suprir os aliados Vietcongues no Sul.
Hanoi made the decision to support the resistance in the South. Hanoi leaders before then had actually advised the Southern cadres not to fight against the South, but they reversed that decision and decided that they would send arms, ammunition, and supplies to help the Southern cadres.
Mas a trilha não passava pelo Vietnã. A maioria dos seus 480 quilômetros atravessava o Laos e o Camboja.
It began just over the border in Laos and ran down the spine of a cordillera, some mountains, the highlands of South Vietnam, and emptied out into the area north of Saigon. It was initially nothing more than an interlocking trail system.
Laos had been demilitarized. in the early 60s. The United States and North Vietnam and China and Russia had all gotten together and said, all right, you know, let's have peace, at least in Laos, and we'll all agree not to go in there. Well, the North Vietnamese said, well, it's only a piece of paper, so let's rip that up.
Revelações. O coronel Bo Simons secretamente diminuiu as fronteiras do Laos nos mapas usados pelos soldados americanos. Eles invadiram o Laos pensando estar no Vietnã. Os norte-vietnamitas secretamente desenvolveram trilhas para suprir e controlar os aliados vietcongues.
The Ho Chi Minh Trail was both less and more than a trail. It began as such a wilderness that the first trail makers had to find native guides to lead them through the countryside. It was that wild. As they used the trail, it became a regularized trail. They had to actually establish campsites, and those campsites over time became way stations, and they were regular stopping places on this trail.
Muitos anos após a guerra, fotos desconhecidas tiradas por fotógrafos vietcongues revelaram a história da trilha Ho Chi Minh.
The photographers had very good memories of traveling on the Ho Chi Minh Trail because stationed along the trail, they didn't have signs along the trail saying where they were, what the next stop, which direction they're going. They had these youth volunteers, and these were mostly kids from the north, and not soldiers, but mostly girls. And they had just great memories of these kids along the trail.
Vietcongues e espiões norte-vietnamitas também precisavam de guias, pois a trilha era traiçoeira.
They had terrible stories about snakes and poisonous spiders. They'd sleep in hammocks, and in the mornings they'd have to dump out their shoes, and they were full of snakes and spiders. The whole area is just incredibly wet all year round. So they battled mildew and skin fungus.
À proporção que a guerra crescia, a trilha Ho Chi Minh aumentava. No final, ela se estenderia por 1.280 quilômetros. Os vietcongues demoravam 3 meses para atravessá-la a pé.
The level of intensity of the war in South Vietnam increased to the point that Hanoi believed that it needed heavier weapons, more firepower, especially at the point where it decided to send its own troops to the south. Then it became necessary to really expand the trail to the size of a road.
But it eventually became literally a soft surface highway. And there were trucks backed up, bumper to bumper, along that highway. At various times, the CIA and the military, U.S. military, would set up sensors along the trail system, heat sensors and movement sensors to determine when forces were moving.
Os Estados Unidos não queriam romper publicamente o acordo sobre o Laos e os sul-vietnamitas não tinham forças para destruir a trilha usada para abastecer os vietcongues diariamente. A interdição desse caminho tornou-se uma das batalhas secretas da Guerra do Vietnã. As forças americanas utilizaram tecnologia moderna para tentar bloquear a trilha.
I think probably the most useful ones were the airdropped listening devices, which were often disguised to look like, you know, a bamboo plant. They would just drive from there and whoop, they'd hit there, and they would have basically a radio, you know, a microphone, and you could literally listen. It would broadcast up to planes flying overhead.
A tecnologia da Força Aérea podia localizar os movimentos dos vietcongues, mas os inimigos não paravam de agir.
They would kill a lot of North Vietnamese, destroy a lot of trucks, but never enough, because the trail kept getting expanded. Like I said, it was 10 to 30 miles wide, so it wasn't simply one trail, it was a complex of trails. So you could hit one convoy here, but on either side of it there was another trail that was unhit. There were convoys coming down there.
Revelações. A inteligência norte-americana tinha contatos nos escalões vietcongues, mas muitos deles eram agentes duplos comandados pelos vietcongues. Estudos recentemente revelados mostram que a trilha Ho Chi Minh não era tão eficiente para o transporte de suprimentos quanto os americanos temiam.
Throughout the war, 80% of North Vietnamese materiel bound for South Vietnam had not been coming down the Ho Chi Minh Trail system, as we thought.
Muitos suprimentos que os Estados Unidos queriam interceptar, na verdade, chegavam por mar. No entanto, as novas tropas certamente passavam pela trilha e os bombardeiros americanos não puderam detê-las.
The trail nevertheless remained the major route for forces to enter South Vietnam. And over the course of the war, despite the fact that it might not have been the main route for supplies, it's estimated that more than 1 million tons of supplies moved from North Vietnam to South Vietnam along the Ho Chi Minh Trail.
No final, a trilha continuava a conduzir tropas para a batalha. Para cada ataque americano à trilha, os norte-vietnamitas tinham um contragolpe.
The trail could not have been broken by a simple air attack, by bombing or by what we called aerial reconnaissance, and we did not have the support capability to move an army across the neck of Vietnam to break the Ho Chi Minh Trail physically on the ground.
Para muitos soldados americanos e sul-vietnamitas, a Guerra do Vietnã era uma batalha contra um inimigo disposto a utilizar as mais sinistras armas de guerra. Os Vietcongues provaram ser os mestres das armadilhas. Vietnã, 1967. Os vietnamitas do norte e os vietcongues aperfeiçoaram um sistema subterrâneo de túneis que permitia esconder batalhões inteiros dos bombardeiros americanos. A trilha Ho Chi Minh garantia o abastecimento de homens e materiais. No entanto, havia mais 2 elementos em seu arsenal secreto: as armadilhas mortais e a política.
What's fascinating to me is the degree of political indoctrination of each unit. That each unit they sent out, right down to the company level, had a military commander and a political commander, and they were of equal rank.
Estas imagens raras, feitas por um cinegrafista norte-vietnamita, mostram o líder político em ação.
And before any battle, there were what we would think of as pep talks or rallies to remind them why they were fighting, the great traditions of their ancestors, what this battle meant, and compared to the American troops who really couldn't ever get that sort of enthusiasm going.
The idea was to create political as well as military strength. Throughout the whole time, the plan was similar to that of the Dien Bien Phu battle.
A valorização da política e do moral era algo que Ho Chi Minh e os generais haviam aprendido com os russos, os inventores do oficial político.
He would have some military training, but his main job there was to be a combination, chaplain, morale officer, and instructor. He would basically look after the needs of the troops. I mean, if the guy had trouble at home or he got word that his father was sick, the political officer would sit down with him and say, hey, you gotta fuck up. So he was sort of a substitute father, but at the same time, he was a true blue communist.
O oficial político representou uma estratégia vital neste conflito. A guerra no Vietnã era, acima de tudo, uma disputa de determinação.
I think most Americans who were involved in Vietnam War understood they too were locked in a war of attrition. It was the official U.S. policy, as was limited war. Lyndon Johnson used to say, I want to fight this war in cold blood. He did not want to spend one more bullet than he had to convince Hanoi that he could not continue the struggle.
Our soldiers were trained to attack, to basically, get involved in a firefight and to win. We had better weapons, we integrated our artillery support, we had air power, we had helicopters. Our soldiers had to train on all of that stuff.
O soldado americano no Vietnã era um oponente letal. Para cada baixa americana, 20 inimigos morreram. Revelações. Os Estados Unidos atacaram o moral Vietcong, divulgando falsas mensagens de rádio em Hanoi sobre um grande aumento na produção de próteses de membros. Os Estados Unidos esperavam subjugar a determinação comunista através de bombardeios e da superioridade bélica. Mas os Vietcongues tinham uma arma devastadora contra as tropas americanas e sul-vietnamitas: as armadilhas.
The whole idea of booby traps was to demoralize and delay the troops, because they only hurt one or two guys at a time, or kill them.
Nas densas florestas ou nas vilas repletas de vietnamitas que podiam ser amigos ou não, as armadilhas eram armas devastadoras. Qualquer coisa podia ser usada contra o soldado em patrulha.
The bamboo stakes with human feces on them was the one that's the most easy to set up. It was just a little hole, maybe 18 inches in the ground. They put a little bamboo pad on top of it, so when you step on it would slow down the movement of the troops, was its intent.
O bambu estava presente em todo lugar e podia ser utilizado em qualquer tipo de construção. Afiado, formava uma lança chamada ponde. Coberto com fezes humanas, tornava-se uma arma grotesca. Um arranhão podia causar doenças e até gangrena. Os soldados foram orientados a não procurar souvenirs.
If the unfamiliar GI wanted to search a hole that was maybe souvenir hunting crazy, he would just jump down into the hole to get down in there, and there would be a floor, but it wouldn't be strong enough to hold somebody jumping, and they'd go right through it and be plunging.
Uma mera trepadeira podia ser letal quando combinada a uma granada.
A wait-a-minute vine in Vietnam is a long-wired vine that grows all up and down trees and bushes, but it's got hooked hooks on it like a rose bush, but even stickier. And when they hit you, you're stuck. You have to have your buddies pull them off of you because they stick you. Well, they would hook this to the pin, and as you're walking through there, it would catch you, your skin, your clothes, and it would pull the pin and you're done. They were very ingenious.
Graças às linhas de abastecimento e à estrutura de comando estabelecida pela trilha Ho Chi Minh, surgiam armadilhas mais sofisticadas, como mostram estes manuais governamentais recém-revelados. Eram minas, granadas e até um maço de cigarros falso projetado para explodir.
There was also the Bouncing Betty, which was a grenade and a launcher, where you stepped on a three-pronged pin, set off, shot up, and pretty well cut you in half.
Esta mina da Segunda Guerra Mundial ejeta uma granada a 1,5 metros. Ao explodir, ela lança estilhaços.
I did step on a Bouncing Betty once, believe it or not, but nobody else can tell you that. It wasn't armed, thank God. I stepped on it and felt something and stopped. And the armory guy came up, and I just stood there. And they dug it out, and they had forgotten to arm the firing pin in the thing. So, talk about, spitting nickels.
Revelações. Soldados americanos colocavam minas embaixo de pôsteres de Ho Chi Minh, fornicando com garotos para matar os Vietcongues que os arrancassem. Um dos segredos vitais dos Vietcongues era utilizar a força do inimigo contra ele próprio. Muitas vezes, os explosivos usados nas armadilhas eram fabricados nos Estados Unidos.
It can be anything, as I said, from a 500-pound bomb that didn't explode that they booby-trapped, to artillery shell, to a grenade, to a Claymore mine that they've gotten from us. And they weren't designed usually to kill. They were designed to wound, because if you wounded a guy, it took 4 or 5 guys to care for him and a helicopter come in to take him out.
The Viet Cong used booby traps because they were easy to make, they were handy, and they kind of took the morale out of the troops for a little while. Plus, let them know where we were.
11% das mortes americanas no Vietnã foram causadas por armadilhas e minas. 17% dos feridos foram vítimas de armadilhas.
Terror was their major weapon. They wanted to terrorize the GI, and they were pretty good at it, because when you went out on patrol, you knew you were up against a guy who didn't want to fight you because he would lose, and was going to concentrate on trying to ambush you, or get you with a booby trap and then run away, and that was pretty scary.
Os Vietcongues estavam aterrorizando os soldados sul-vietnamitas e americanos na floresta, mas os americanos também planejavam utilizar o terror para combatê-los. O contra-ataque seria com campos de prisioneiros e assassinatos. Os Estados Unidos recrutaram até fantasmas para destruir os Vietcongues. Vietnã, 1968. As tropas sul-vietnamitas e americanas vinham sendo derrotadas pelas táticas da guerrilha Vietcong, entre as quais havia atiradores de elite, emboscadas e armadilhas. Os Estados Unidos planejavam virar o jogo, empregando estratégias próprias. A Agência Central de Inteligência era vital para o sucesso dessas operações secretas.
There were a host of CIA operations that were aimed at the Viet Cong at various times of the war. And not just the CIA, Army, Special Forces, the South Vietnamese, and also the U.S. Military Command, which had something that it called the Special Operations Groups.
A CIA e as forças especiais procuravam qualquer vantagem.
We wanted to find out what kind of beer they like. By the way, Budweiser was the preferred beer, and we would often plant sabotage Budweiser along the Ho Chi Minh Trail system because we knew they would stop, take a little sip, and if the bomb worked right, they'd be blown up. We also spent a lot of time trying to determine what kind of cigarettes Ho Chi Minh liked, Salem cigarettes. We wanted to be able to poison them and do him in.
Como em toda a guerra, as correspondências eram examinadas pela inteligência.
I spent a lot of time reading love letters, captured love letters, taken from the bodies of communist cadre, particularly letters that related to stops along the trail, bridges that were strategic or certainly tactical pieces of intelligence that we could plug into our picture to better target our bombing campaign.
Talvez o programa secreto mais estranho tenha sido a Operação Alma Perdida.
We had a psychological warfare program using a lot of imaginative, routines, including one that alluded to the Lost Souls, the Lost Souls program, where we made up tapes using South Vietnamese actors and cultural advisors.
As gravações eram transmitidas por soldados ou pilotos de helicóptero usando alto-falantes. O alvo era o combatente comunista que estava longe de casa e a mensagem era: deixe o exército para salvar sua alma.
Basically alluding to the fact that if you die away from your home village and are not buried with your ancestors, your soul will wander, haunting people.
Revelações. Os Estados Unidos forjaram uma infiltração maciça de tropas ao lançar toneladas de blocos de gelo no Vietnã do Norte. O gelo derretia e os paraquedas ficavam no chão. Os Vietcongues continuavam a assediar e matar soldados americanos. Então, em 1968, a CIA colocou em prática um novo programa chamado Operação Fênix.
It was an effort to counter the Viet Cong by taking out what we called the infrastructure, taking out the hierarchy of officials, of guerrilla leaders, of local organizations like Peasants Union or Workers Union leaders. And Operation Phoenix was going to deal directly with them. It was going to collect intelligence, identify these people in all the hamlets and villages of South Vietnam, and then neutralize them by a series of mechanisms that ranged from arresting them to killing them.
Agentes da CIA e do Vietnã do Sul criaram mecanismos abrangentes para prender dezenas de milhares de sul-vietnamitas.
So at the time, we're saying it's an anti-terrorism program. Let's go after the guys who killed all the local officials, killed the school teachers, killed the mayors, and the local infrastructure will fall apart. Well, it worked because they captured documents, complaining to the people up north saying, look, we're losing control of a lot of districts because they're killing our cadres, which is basically what it was. And, it was a dirty war.
In many cases, what happened in the Phoenix program was that South Vietnamese local officials nominated as Phoenix targets people that they wanted to get rid of. People who owed them money, people who were their personal enemies, people they had some other problem with.
No final, até os agentes da CIA chamaram o programa de homicida.
The CIA was claiming that our assassination counter-terror program, the Phoenix program, was killing a lot of high-ranking communist cadre. I looked at some statistics showing the numbers of communist cadre over the years, and they hadn't diminished. We were killing somebody, but they weren't the right Vietnamese.
Total war has no rules. There are massacres on both sides. Once you see total war, you never forget it. And you never want that to happen ever again. And you don't want American forces wrapped up in something like that if they can all possibly be held out of it. Because total war and sending young Americans into war is the most serious thing this country can do.
Revelações. Havia tantos agentes vietcongues infiltrados no programa Fênix que as chances de sucesso eram reduzidas. 1971. Tal como as outras faces da guerra, quando a Operação Fênix foi divulgada, muitos americanos questionaram suas táticas. Foi então que as forças americanas iniciaram a retirada do Vietnã.
When Nixon became president, his predecessors from another party handed him a situation where there were 550,000 Americans surrounded by 1 million enemies and 1 million friendly troops, which would become enemies if they thought we had betrayed them. So the extrication from Vietnam had to be gradual and systematic.
By our own estimates, this war of attrition was going to take 10 years. And Vietnamese estimates put it out at 15 to 20 years. And if you ask Vietnamese military leaders today who were in charge then, there was a small price to pay for liberation and independence.
A rede Vietcong havia sido atingida pela Operação Fênix. Tropas americanas e sul-vietnamitas continuavam a derrotá-la em combates diretos. Mas as linhas de abastecimento do norte continuavam a supri-la com homens e materiais.
It was going to be long, protracted, and drawn out. And the American people do not and will not adhere to a war of attrition. They do not like wars of attrition because they cost lives, rightfully so. Therefore, any Western democracy, and certainly the United States, has a thin window of time when we can accomplish our military objectives. Because after a while, guerrilla tactics in a war of attrition against us will ultimately prevail.
1972. As forças americanas e sul-vietnamitas corriam contra o tempo. O movimento de paz crescia e os Vietcongues e seus aliados do norte continuavam a pressionar, enviando suprimentos e homens para o conflito.
It created the catch-22 situation where we were caught between an insatiable peace movement and an implacable enemy. But where leaving would have huge consequences in the long term for America, leaving under humiliating conditions.
Por fim, os Estados Unidos retiraram quase todo o apoio à guerra. O Sul cambaleou e caiu.
One North Vietnamese colonel was captured and asked the question, who's winning the war now? He said, you are. He said, who's going to win the war eventually? He said, we are. He said, why? He said, because you're going home. And that fact is the ground truth.
Os Estados Unidos, uma democracia fundada na Revolução, encontrou um inimigo que não desistiu de lutar por sua nação. A ferocidade das táticas vietcongues e norte-vietnamitas, a doutrinação política, as armadilhas, os sistemas de túneis e a trilha Ho Chi Minh alimentaram uma força que sobreviveu ao maciço exército americano. Os Vietcongues estavam dispostos a pagar qualquer preço.